Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, how about a runoff? Also, the V-Team takes a look at a racist, sexist, anti-Semite Republican candidate. And Billy Canary, he's going to stay at BCA. Burn, baby, burn. BCA up in flames. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V-Team. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
You know, I've been meaning to talk about this the last couple of weeks, so we've only got a couple seconds to do it, but we're moving into a new studio.
We are moving into a new studio.
State of the art. It's going to be the nicest one. Jack, you've seen pictures of it. It's beautiful.
Only seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
It's only been going on for 8 months, so.
Yeah, and it may be another month or so before we're in it because we're having a little telecommunication problem.
But it is a beautiful studio. We'll be able to offer more shows, more time with this show, so we're very excited about it.
Oh, and I've got another announcement before we move on. The opioid antidote that we had on the show a few weeks ago.
The one that Gerald Dye
got the $12 million grant for, has already saved 2 lives, and it's only been out there. 3.
According to Gerald Lyle.
So that's
it was on our
one.
show yesterday.
Okay, so we've got yet another one. It's only been out there 2 or 3 weeks. So we're really excited to announce that.
Worth every penny then.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we didn't pay anything for it, but every penny they put into it saved a life.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. This week we were able to report that Porch Creek Indian Vice President Robbie McGee had said that Kay Ivey would sign a letter to Richard Shelby supporting a Tribal Reaffirmation Act, the Land Reaffirmation Act. Josh, Senator Shelby said he would sign no such bill. Kay Ivey said she would send no such letter. But this Reaffirmation Act, this Land Act, is very important to the Porch Creek. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, there was a Supreme Court decision that essentially removed the status from a lot of Indian tribes. And it threw into doubt a lot of tribes that were that become federally recognized after I believe it was 1937.
1934.
34. And so it was those tribes now are facing some legal challenges. I mean, it's not a clear-cut issue. It's not clear that the Porch Creeks are in trouble here or anything else. But having a reaffirmation would allow them to go forward with a clear mind and a clear understanding and feel good about their standing around here. And they're a little bit worried about that standing now with the Trump administration.
Right.
Because the Trump administration has been, decidedly kind of anti-Native American.
Right.
Anybody who's obviously darker than khaki, they're kind of against. But it's a, that's kind of the Trump stance.
Bigots.
Bigots. Or racist. They're worried. Is the bottom line, and legitimately so.
Susan Bradley Burns sponsored a bill that passed the House back in January. That was the Land Reaffirmation Act for the Porch Creek. We told the Porch Creek at the time, we reported it, Senator Richard Shelby will not sign on to the bill. They didn't believe it. He didn't sign on, is not going to sign on, so he never would sign on.
Well, he said he wouldn't sign on at the time, and since then, McGee and the Kennys have kind of cuddled up to Billy Canary also, who is not exactly, Shelby is not a fan of. So now that's even made the situation worse.
Well, Shelby's the one who started this thing, Jack, saying that Billy Canary had to go.
That's what everybody says. Billy Canary is still there.
He's still there. We'll get into that later on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. The Porch Creek now have found out that Robbie McGee has been misleading them all along, Josh.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing. It's not, you know, Richard Shelby is not just being mean.
No.
You know, this is not, to do this would not be necessarily a good thing for the state overall, okay?
Right.
I'm not saying we're trying to punish the Porch Creek Indians, because nobody wants that. But at the same time, when you're looking at the amount of money that's flowing in and out of the casinos there, and I think we all acknowledge kind of some social problems related to gambling and stuff like that, we're receiving no tax revenue as a state from any of that to offset any of those issues like they do in all these other states.
Right.
And so you weaken the state's position to negotiate such a compact if you go ahead with this reaffirmation act that you have right now. If they're wanting to push this forward, well, let's say, hey, how about coming to the table? Let's give us something here. Let's all work together and make this a better state.
They have $1 billion empire. They pay no taxes on it, and Robbie McGee whines about, you know, all the rest of us pointing that out, and yet he can't get a meeting with Kay Ivey because she knows exactly what you do. They are getting a free ride, and they shouldn't get a free ride. They talk about how much great citizens they are. Prove it.
Well, when you may not have a good relationship with Shelby or Kay Ivey, they still have a ownership of Steve Marshall, so they're all right.
Well, they
They
do own Steve,
Yeah.
and you know what I say, Jack? It's like my pappy used to say, you get what you pay for.
That's for
Well,
certain.
then they ought to get a lot.
They're paying a lot of money for Steve Marshall. You know, he had the audacity to go down to Mobile and be on our friend Sean Sullivan's radio show down there, and said the Porch Creek were back in Troy King. Really?
He won't
Come
look at
on
the
our radio
dollars, people.
show.
There's not $1 there.
No. I mean, he's getting all that BCA money, and that's flowing from the Porch Creek. We only got about a minute and a half left. But, Jack, there was an interesting poll came out this week that indicates that there may be a runoff in the governor's race on the Republican side between Kay Ivey and Tommy Battle. It's a long shot.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
I don't see it.
Why?
Why do I not see it?
Why?
I just don't think. I think Battle's had some good ads on TV. I just think that, you know, Kay Ivey is a familiar name. You know, she's not going to rock the boat, as we all know, and we have found out. There's no compelling reason to turn her out by the voters. And that's what happens if you're an incumbent. If there's not a compelling reason to get rid of you, voters tend to go vote for who they know.
You don't think that she thinks so? Because, man, she pops up in Huntsville a lot these days.
Yeah.
You know, and I do have to say, I think that there are some concerns about her health.
Pops up or props up?
Yeah,
Both.
Okay.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I think there are some concerns about her health and stuff that may sway some voters. I don't know if it's going to sway them far enough that we're going to end up in a runoff, but it might.
We've heard, especially after this, you know, accusation about being a homosexual came out, which there's no proof to that, and Seinfeld would say,
There's nothing wrong with
No,
it.
hang on. There really wasn't an accusation that she was homeless. It was an accusation that she gave federal money through the state.
Well, I think Pat Todd kind of threw the
When
accusation.
she said there's a rumor out there, I think that was right
That's
on it.
what she said, a rumor.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I take back accusation and I say rumor. But we're out of time. We're going to leave it right there.
But she's
I just
happy
didn't
for
want
that.
people to think Scott Dawson accused
Oh,
her.
God, no. But not that there's anything wrong with that.
nothing wrong with
Listen,
that.
you think I care? No.
We're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back with more news and opinion.
I'm Rusty Glover. I'm a Republican running for Lieutenant Governor. For the past 12 years, I've served my constituents in the state Senate. Now I want to use that experience to benefit all the people of Alabama, not the special interest in Montgomery. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a former high school teacher who knows how to make a positive impact one child at a time. Now I want to make a positive impact for every Alabamian by serving you as your Lieutenant Governor. I'm Rusty Glover, and I'm asking for your vote June 5th. Together, we can make Alabama a better home for us all.
Rise and shine, Alabama. It's style time. It's style time. It's style time. It's time to start the show. With hard work and new ideas, Carol Dial is on the go. future. There is no better sign to keep Alabama growing. It's style time.
Hey, it's Taylor Hicks, and I'm back. Even though it's too late for you to register to vote for the election on June 5th, it's not too late for you to get your government-issued photo ID. It's important to have your voice heard, so your vote will be counted. If you need an ID, call the number on the screen so you can vote and make a difference in the good old state of Alabama.
Two-thirds of drivers who died in car crashes chose to ignore this warning. Seatbelts save lives. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. This past week, Jack, we released the second of our League of Influential polls.
Yeah, you did.
You weren't on it, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You're a little upset about that.
I'm a little bitter. Party of one. Yeah, I read about it. I thought, I've been doing this a long time. I'm on his show, and I'm not an influential.
I didn't put
well,
the
why don't you
family
replace me on the
there.
show? Put somebody back here. Put another lib. That's what he needs, another lib.
Oh, God.
I didn't put anybody in the
do need
family on the
another
list,
lib.
but Jack, I will
Anyway,
put you,
Jack,
okay?
we will put
That's quite all right.
You are influential with me.
I mean, you
Well,
got my
that is so
you got my
kind.
email on that though, right?
Yeah, we did, of course. But
I'd be glad I'm a good sport.
It was very. It's kind of interesting because the polls, you know, the influentials are politicos, lawmakers,
Leadership.
Lobbyists.
It's lobbyists, but it's Republican, Democrat, centrist. You know, we got it all, and the polls are really fairly reflective of what we've seen out there among these guys that do it for a living. And in the governor's race, 52 Jack to 24 for Tommy Battle. Ivy 52, Battle 24, then goes down there. Now, one race that is not close is the lieutenant governor's race, where you have Twinkle leading, then Will Ainsworth, then Rusty Glover. And I thought that race would be closer, Jack.
Well, Twinkle is a household word, whether you like her or not. She is. I think that's accurate that she'll win without a runoff. And but I don't know about Kay and Battle being 52 to 24. I would say he's going to be a little higher than that.
Yeah. Well, and this was over a 2-week period.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think?
No, I think so too. I agree with Jack. I think that Battle will be. I think he can force a runoff there, and I think more than that, I think Kay's people think that he can force a runoff because she continues to pop up in Huntsville.
Yeah.
At different events. She was a surprise guest at some
at the
League
forum.
of Women something or other up there that nobody knew she was coming for, and it was
Did
just
she
know? No. They stopped the car and said get out. And she rolled in, and she said, there'll be drinks, and she's like okay, good. And so, and then, I'm really surprised by Ainsworth's opponent in this race. I thought Ainsworth would do better.
Yeah,
we don't agree on much, me and Will Ainsworth, but I don't think Will's a crook.
No, he's a good guy.
He's an honest
He's
guy.
honest.
He is. He's very honest.
He spent a lot of money so far.
Susan, the other thing we saw is that, at least according to our poll, Tom Parker, Justice Tom Parker, is just killing Chief Justice Lynn Stewart, appointed Chief Justice Lynn Stewart.
Right. By 71 to 28, I mean, that was even stronger than what we initially had thought it would be.
Yeah, but Jack, you think there's some flaws in that?
Well, what's interesting is your League of Influentials. A lot of them are a bunch of insiders.
Yeah.
And for them to say that he beats, I'm right. You're
I
offended.
thought those were bunny ears.
Well,
League of Influentials.
Anyway, I just think that that really surprised me that he would have that commanding a lead in that particular poll.
Well, I mean, these are people that certainly are not, Roy Moore folks or even Tom Parker folks. I think they're just reading some tea leaves.
Yeah, I think the Roy Moore people will help him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so I think she's got that against her. But I think the ad buys should make it a little closer. But, man, they can't be happy with all the money they spend.
Well, if he's that tied to Roy, and Roy beat back an opponent that spent $28 million, then Tom Parker doesn't need the money that
That's right.
that Lynn
I don't
Stewart
think he
has.
plays like it used to as far as the money goes.
Well, you know, it's been
I think
crazy.
people are, now we have the internet, people are more likely to go and investigate people. They're more likely to look at their background, which is a good thing.
One of the things that we
Russian
were
collusion.
seeing in our influential poll, as well as in the normal polls that are out there, is that this Attorney General's race, Josh, has tightened, and Marshall is within 4 points of Troy King. It's 31 to 34.
That's another disappointing thing. I'm obviously not a big Steve Marshall fan.
Nobody on the show is.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily say that I'm a big Troy King fan, although I do agree with King's position, particularly on gambling. I agreed with that and agreed with the things, the approach that he took when he was Attorney General. And, and Marshall, he seems like such a desperate guy. He will do anything to grab a vote here or there for things. Like past week, suing the federal government over the census, and I mean, it's such a waste of money. And those are the sorts of things, though, that he's done consistently to try to prove that he's not the Democrat that he was for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, and Susan, the most shocking thing is not that Chess Bedsole is not doing well, but that Alice Martin is only pulling about 22%. And nobody is more qualified than Alice Martin.
Absolutely, and that is a very disappointing number because she really knows the job inside out. She's been in the courtroom. She's dealt with all this corruption and things over the years. It's really disappointing that her numbers aren't any better than that.
Jack just couldn't pull any money, and while money.
Well, she's got a new ad out that's pretty good.
Is it?
It hits both Troy and Steve Marshall, and very subtly you see some dice in the background. I mean, and Troy's wearing a Bentley sticker. And in the picture,
I can't. What I can't figure out is how Troy could have been that unprepared for the gambling question, and Alice Martin could be that unprepared for the Bentley questions about seeking the. I just don't understand who.
The one guy that is prepared is Steve Marshall because he'll just lie.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no compunction.
One of the problems with him not being hired because he spent a lot more money than anybody else is because he still has the Bentley appointment hanging over their head, and there are a lot of people out there, including myself, who think that might have been a shady deal from the beginning.
Well, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. First time I've ever cut my wife off and not lost a hand.
Well, it's usually the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back with more news and analysis.
This field in Alabama doesn't look like much, but thanks to Kay Ivey, 4,000 Alabamians will soon have new jobs here. Kay Ivey's Alabama jobs focus is working. $6 billion in new investment, record job growth, and the lowest unemployment in Alabama history.
Whether it's recruiting 4,000 jobs with Toyota Mazda or helping small businesses, creating jobs in Alabama is my job.
Alabama is working again. Kay Ivey for governor.
You'll never guess what 400,000 people in the U.S. were using when they crashed their cars last year. No, not this. This. Distracted driving will kill you. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. Access to clean, affordable energy continues to be an issue of vital importance in the halls of government and around the kitchen tables across our nation. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Susan, Senator Richard Shelby, 7 of the state's most powerful corporations in June or in April called for Billy Canary to step down. They went to the executive committee. A message was delivered that these companies wanted Canary gone as the chief of Business Council of Alabama. Gave them until June 1st to make a decision. On Monday, last Monday, the executive committee met and they put out a press release courtesy of Todd Stacy about 2 seconds later. I don't know was he there with them?
Wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. Anyway, so Todd puts out this press release saying that Billy Canary has 2.5 more years at BCA and they're going to do a contingency plan. And oh, by the way, you Big 7, Richard Shelby, big old Bronx cheer.
Yeah, well, they went from giving Big 7 a raspberry to basically flipping them off, is what they did, saying that Canary will be there until his contract ends at the end of 2020, that they don't have a succession plan. It would be irresponsible for them not to have a succession plan. Well, you know, boys, should have started that succession plan back in April if you want to be responsible. I mean, the Big 7 companies of Alabama have said he has got to go. Perry Hand is doubling down on it now. Going to look at maybe why Mr. Hand is doubling down on that.
But his company's made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, no, I'm about to start looking into that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Josh, I mean, the Big 7 said if Canary didn't go, they would. Now, we have to ask ourselves, is Mark Crosswhite, is the head of AT&T, Regions Bank, and Blue Cross Blue Shield and others, are they going to let Perry Hand and Billy Canary defy them? Or will they keep their promise and walk away?
Yeah, you know, this was this thing was kind of couched as a Alabama power versus everybody else, and that's not true. You know, there are a lot of really big name companies that are kind of against Canary at this point and want to see the change, and it's understandable. Again, we're talking about everybody in this is trying to make money, you know, and that's what the whole thing is about, is making money. And so it's understandable that the guy that's running Volkert, that's making hundreds of millions of dollars with Canary at the top there, is very happy that things are going this way, and it's understandable that these other folks over here, Blue Cross Blue Shield, who lost a pretty big, you know, autism bill fight a couple years ago with Billy leading the charge and harassing lawmakers in the hallways over there, you know, it's understandable that they want him out.
Yeah, this is not personal.
No.
It's business, Jack. They don't, this guy has not been able to deliver and they want him gone.
I don't want to get into the Bill Canary discussion. I'm tired of it because he's still there.
Yeah.
You know, he's still there, and I'm not a member, so I don't have a dog in the fight. But I will say this. Their behavior in giving an attorney general's candidate $250,000 is despicable. That's like you're trying to buy somebody, and it's obvious. And for Steve Marshall to accept that money from BCA, which, quite frankly, y'all are right, they're under fire right now. People are running away from them. Rats are running off the ship. But that is egregious.
That goes back to the point that Bill cut me off with right before the end of the last segment. If Steve Marshall was appointed by Bentley, and BCA's giving him $250,000, we all know he's for sale.
Yeah, no doubt. You can buy him. But I guess my point, go ahead, John.
And I don't mean to say BCA is what it used to be, because my opinion is far from it, and not in a good way. But, you know, I just, and you make a lot of valid points. There are people who are longtime members that are very upset with the way things are going over there.
Well, listen, Billy Canary has had no power since Mike Hubbard left. The truth is, he never was anything until without Bob Riley and Mike Hubbard. So it was all a charade the whole time. And what these companies are doing, it's not personal. He's not moving the business community forward.
He's not effective anymore.
Right.
Well, and he's not pro-business as such. He's pro-establishment.
Yeah, if you say that the BCA name over there now, you kind of get a negative reaction among a lot of Republican lawmakers, you know, and those are the people who would normally fall in line, who would normally toe that line when Hubbard was around, when Riley was running things, and now that has become kind of a dirty word for the most part, and you've got to change that.
When you say Canary's name, they cringe.
Yeah. Well, you know, and Perry Hand, either he is the stubbornest guy around, or he's just a plain idiot. I mean, I think he was referring to me, and he called me a bully. And he said he wasn't going to be bullied by a blogger. And I'm like, wow, I never thought of myself as a bully. But you know, I've tried to call this guy. The first story we did, I called him. I've called him since, and he never called me back. So I guess he thinks I'm a bully, but I'm pretty sure he's a coward. Because if you don't call me back, you're either hiding something or you're just a wimp. And I guess he's a wimp. I don't know.
It's not the word you've been using.
Well, what word would that be? Anyway, we don't even have enough time to get into the disaster that awaits the Republican Party if they elect Jim Bonner head of the part of the Public Service Commission. Josh, could you just give us a highlight of Jim Bonner?
Oh, Jim Bonner.
Summarize Jim Bonner.
Yeah, Jim Bonner is not Joe Bonner. I think that's the best summarization you can get out of it. You know, the guy is an absolute mess. I mean, really, just scroll through the stories on APR. That's the best thing.
He's a disaster waiting to add disaster that's already happened.
Jack, this guy has racist posts, anti-Semitic posts, anti-women posts. The only thing he doesn't have on there is something that qualifies him for PSC.
That Dale guy that ran the Rode the Horse, you know?
Dale Peterson.
He makes that guy look like he went to a Dale Carnegie.
Listen, at least Peterson could fill out his FCPA reports correctly.
And listen, I am no fan of Uncle Fester. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Jeremy Oden only shows up for meetings. I mean, he deserves a tough opponent, but he doesn't deserve
this guy's got Facebook problems. He's got financial problems. We just need to vet the people on the ballot.
All right, Terry Lathan, God bless you.
Please.
You've been watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.